Is that Mike?
Yes, it is. It's Mike. How you doing, Rod?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time this morning.
Oh, my pleasure.
I talked to actually Rick Wakeman last week. He's touring the U.S., and I read that Rick Wakeman said that your keyboard solo in Argent's Hold Your Head Up is the greatest keyboard solo of all time. And this is Rick Wakeman, who knows his way around a keyboard or 12. Have you ever you must have crossed paths with Rick Wakeman at some point.
Oh, yeah, I have, and he's a lovely guy, and he's a friend. We became friends. I mean, I don't see him all the time, but he's a lovely guy and a very talented guy. And I actually heard him say that, you know. It was on a radio program in the UK, and it was over a Christmas period, and I happened to have the radio on, and the DJ said, we have this spot, he said, where, you know, you can play a longer record than normal. He said, you know, what would you like to choose? And Rick did choose. He said, I'd like to choose Hold Your Head Up. And he did say that. He said, I think this is the greatest organ solo on the long version of it. You know, obviously the hit single, they cut out the 3-minute organ solo.
Of course, yeah.
But you know, it made my Christmas, to be quite honest, him saying that. So it's a very sweet thing for him to say. But he said he believed it. You know, when I saw him after that, he said, yeah, well, it is. So that's fantastic.
Much like Rick Wakeman, you know, with the Zombies, with Argent, but you've also worked with, produced, written with a lot of people who are maybe a couple of the people of note that you have worked with in your, what is it, like over 50-year career at this point in music?
I played on. I was booked to actually play on the whole "Who Are You" album, but I played on 3 tracks in the end, which was "Who Are You," "Love Is Coming Down." Although in the end I didn't get credited on "Love Is Coming Down," but I loved that track, and the John Entwistle track on the album. I played on the whole of the Roger Daltrey album, which came before that, which I don't know how successful it was over here, but in the UK it spawned a couple of big hit records. And I played an Andrew Lloyd Webber album, which in the UK was number 1, and that was a collaboration. He wrote something called Paganini Variations for a whole set of them for his brother, the classical cellist, but he put a rock band with it, which included Gary Moore, it included John Heisman's Colosseum, and he asked me to do it, to play keyboards, and that turned out to be a number 1 album.
We're here to talk about the Zombies, and you guys are still recording new music. The new album is called Different Game, right? That's out at the end of the month. I want to ask you about the title and the cover. Now, the cover of the album looks like you guys out in the middle of the desert watching your van get towed away. 2 questions there. 1, please, are the Zombies really still touring in a van? And 2, is that supposed to, you know, is that a metaphor for something?
Well, the thing is, we are still touring in a van, but the reason is because we like wherever possible not to use local planes, because it just takes forever. And things can go wrong all the time. It's just, you know, I remember coming over in the 60s, and it was like getting on a bus. You turn up 10 minutes before the flight and just walk on, show your ticket. Now, it's you have to be there at least 2 hours before, and then the flight's delayed, and it's such a faff. You have to go through security and all through getting your stuff out your bag. So wherever possible, and it's not always possible, but wherever possible, we do travel in the van. The title is actually based on the first song on the album is called Different Game. I've written 9 of the songs on the album out of the 10, and that is the opening track on the album. It's actually not about that, but it suits many things, and it actually suits what happened with the van, because we were traveling through the desert. We broke down, the van caught fire, and we had to stand outside. Thank God we had some water in about 110 degrees for 4 hours before we were rescued. And so it struck me that is a very different game to what many people think of the rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's good. So that picture is real?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely real.
Oh, my God.
I took a picture of us when the tow truck arrived, 4 hours later.
Wow.
And it just turned out. And to me, when I saw it the next day, the picture, people were saying, "Do you know what? That could be an album cover." And I thought, well, it fits in so many ways. but also, it was with the light, fading in the desert. And the lights of the van coming through, I love that. But also looking on the left, it looked a little bit, and seeing the mountains in the distance and the light, the sort of unearthly light, it looked a bit like E.T. to me. And I thought, what a lovely mood it seems to conjure. It was just an accident, really, taking that picture. But it did seem to fit on so many levels. And I've just seen an actual vinyl cover, which is obviously the biggest way to represent the picture, and it looks absolutely fabulous. I absolutely love it. So I'm pleased it was used.
That's great. Now, yeah, you're right. It could mean so many things, and over the career of the Zombies, you guys have broken up and reformed a couple of times. You got to fact check me on this. Allegedly, there were a couple of imposter Zombies bands shortly after you broke up the first time touring the United States.
Oh, there were several. It never bothered me, to be quite honest. I just thought it was a bit amusing. But I did learn just a few years ago that ZZ Top, a couple of the members of ZZ Top,
yes,
owned up that they were
yes,
that they were one of the imposter bands. Dusty, anyway, was one of the guys, but yeah, I mean that absolutely did happen. Many of the people were stopped because they were just so bad. I'm sure the ZZ Top one was fantastic, and it made me think about going out as a fake ZZ Top.
You should have done that.
When they finished it.
Yeah. Did you ever run into those guys and talk about that at all?
No, never run into them, actually. I love their stuff.
Well, you know what? They never mentioned that in their documentary. I don't know why. But you guys have a documentary coming out. Is that going to be mentioned at all, these fake zombie bands out there?
I think, yeah, it is in passing. Yeah, absolutely. I've only just seen the documentary, the final cut, and I think they've done an absolutely beautiful job with it. It's fast-paced, it's amusing, it's funny, it's emotional, and it's very moving in places, actually. And you'll have to wait. I won't give anything away, but you'll have to see why.
Okay.
When you actually see the movie itself.
Do you have a release date on that?
We're premiering it at South by Southwest.
Oh, okay.
They're playing it twice in the film festival there.
Nice.
It's been executively produced by Tom Hanks. It's Robert Schwartzman of the Coppola family has done a wonderful job directing it. So I can't wait.
That's awesome. Well, Rod Argent, pleasure speaking with you, sir. The new album, Different Game, out March 31st. I've heard a couple of songs. Love While You Can, which is a beautiful tune, and Dropped, Reeling, and Stupid. I love. Yeah. That is a warm summer breeze of a song. It's just
very kind of you. I mean, the thing is that we recorded the album in exactly the same way that we did Odyssey and Oracle. In other words, it was a totally in-house production that I wanted to at least get my songs over in a way that I felt they should be heard. And it's not to say that other producers can't do a great job, but it was just the way I wanted the songs to turn out. And a lot of people in the industry have given it some wonderful reviews, and I hope the audience follow that. I mean, a lot of people have said they think it's the best album we've made since Odyssey and Oracle. So,
wow.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, to people who haven't heard Odyssey and Oracle, that is a beautiful album. I personally put it up there with Sgt. Pepper and Pet Sounds as a great album of the '60s. And people should definitely check that out. Well, we're looking forward to seeing the documentary and hearing the album and seeing you hopefully live again in the Worcester area. Rod Argent, thank you so much for taking the time this morning, sir.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's been great.